Joy at Red Pine Quilt Shop. This morning we are talking about the kitty cornered ruler from Creative Grids. So let's take a quick look at the ruler and what it does. It is actually designed to do all of the trimming cuts that you need to do to make a kitty cornered block. The ruler was designed by Deb Heatherly. It's a wonderful Creative Grids ruler. If I flip it over, you'll see it has all of the nice sandpaper built into the back side to give the ruler grip so it doesn't slip. Great markings on the front. Comes with a wonderful set of directions, and it also has a QR code on there that you can scan to pull up a video of how to use the ruler that Deb created. And this is a kitty cornered block, and that is what it is designed to do all of the trimming for. So we're going to start out by talking about how to use a ruler to make your blocks. You're going to start out with squares and rectangles. The rectangles are your background. The squares are what's going to become that kite shape in the kitty cornered block. And the ruler also has built right into the front of it a chart that gives you the finished size of your blocks and what size rectangles to cut. And it has the same thing over here for your squares, the finished size of your block, and the size of your squares to cut. So we're going to start out with our square. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to fold it in half on the diagonal. So we'll fold it in half on the diagonal, and you can give it a little press if you want to make a nice crisp seam so it stays folded well. I have one here that I've pressed. And the first thing that we will do is we will look for where the ruler says step 1. That's the corner we're going to start out with, is step 1. And I will take that and I'm going to line up the fold of my triangle. So my triangle that my square that I folded in half, I'm going to line that diagonal fold line up with that dashed line on the ruler right in the step 1 corner. So I will line that up, and then I'm going to line the corner right up with the corner of my block. So my fold line and my corner, and at that point in time I am ready to make the first cut. So I'm going to go ahead and hold that, spin this around so that I can cut at a good angle, and that will give me my kite shape. So now when I unfold it, I will have my kite shape. The next thing that I'm going to do is to cut my background rectangles. Now it's important with your background rectangles that you have 2 of them, because you need to cut an image and a reverse, and they need to either be right sides together or wrong sides together. Make sure that you do not stack them all either right sides up or wrong sides up. You have to have one of each. So one right side up, one wrong side up. So make sure that you're either putting them right sides together or wrong sides together, but they have to be one of each. So now I'm going to actually look at the ruler, and I'm looking for my step 2 corner where it says step 2. And I will take my step 2 and line up. I'm just going to rotate this so you guys can see. So here it says align with the left edge of your rectangle. So I'll rotate that so you guys can see. Align with the left edge of the rectangle. So I have my 2 rectangles stacked up. I'm going to line that up with the left edge of my rectangle, and I'm lining up here with the edge, and now I am ready to cut and make my 2 background sections. So I'll cut that, and when I'm done with that, I will have 2 pieces like that, and I will have an image, and I will have a mirror image, a reverse of it. The last trim that I will do is with step 3. So now I'm going to actually trim off my dog ear, and that is done with step 3. And I'll do that to actually both of these pieces. So now I'm going to take and do my alignment here. I've got a line here and a line here that I want to line up with that block in that step 3 corner. So I will line up with the bottom and line up with the edge, and there is my little dog ear that I'm going to go ahead and trim off. So I will trim that dog ear off. And I would do the same thing with the other half of that rectangle that we split, so that I have the dog ears trimmed off of both. So at that point, I am ready to start to sew. I've got all my prep done, my blocks are cut, I'm ready to sew them. So I will start out with a kite. And I'm going to actually move my mat out here now, because I think you guys can see a little better on the solid surface, and I don't need my rotating mat anymore. So I will take my kite, and this is how that background is going to drop in there. So the first thing, whoops, that is not correct. There we go. That is how the background is going to drop in there. So the first thing that I'm going to do is to sew this piece onto my kite. So I trimmed that little dog ear off because it will help me line this up and line it up correctly. So I'll go ahead and line that up, and now I am ready to sew. Now when you go to sew this piece, you want to start with this end. So when you feed it into your machine, make sure that you're feeding that end in, not the pointy end. You'll have an easier time sewing, and that's the end that you want to be more careful of to make sure it stays lined up. The whole block is going to be slightly oversized, so I'll go ahead and I will sew that seam, and when I'm done, I will have something that looks like this. Now you're going to press your seams out. So you will press your seams out. I'm just going to use my fabric folding pen because I don't have an iron here at my demo station. So I will just use my fabric folding pen and finger press this. Actually, for things like this, I sometimes find when I have bias edges like this, then I'm better off just using my fabric folding pen, because it will actually sometimes be safer for me as far as not accidentally stretching something. I sometimes find I actually am probably maybe a little more careful if I just finger press it. But you want to press out, so press away from your kite. And now we have one more piece of fabric to put on the other side, or other piece of background fabric. So we will do the same thing here. We're going to go ahead and line that corner that we took off with the edge of the block, and we will line that up. And now for this one, I'm going to actually flip it upside down, because again, I want to feed this into my sewing machine first, and I will go ahead and sew that second seam. And after I have sewn that second seam, I will have something that looks like this. And again, I'm going to press out. So I will go ahead and just press this out, and I'll just finger press it again. And at this point in time, I have a block that is now ready to trim. So to trim this, I will use the other edge. So you're using basically all four corners of this ruler, step 1, 2, and 3, and now I'm actually going to the trim corner. And to do the trim, I am going to line that diagonal line up with the corner of my block, and I will line the points up with the corner of the block. So I am going to go ahead and line that up, and I'll get my points lined up. And now I am ready to trim, and I'll go ahead and trim and trim. So I've got my points lined up, I've got my diagonal lined up, and now I've trimmed the one end. And the nice thing now is I have a perfect 1/4 inch there. So I'm going to rotate the block, and now I am actually ready to trim the other side. And now I'm going to use the markings that are on the ruler. So I'm going to rotate this so you guys can see. So it's marked 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3. These are finished sizes. I'm making a 3-inch finished size block, so I'm going to look for that 3, and I am going to line the 3 up with my corner, and this I'm lining it up with the corner that I previously trimmed. And now I am ready to trim the other side. And I will go ahead and trim the other side. And now I have a perfect kitty cornered block all ready to go. And it's ready to be put in my project. And I did all of my trimming with just one tool, which is nice. So here is a cute little project that we've been working on. This is a pattern also from the ruler designer from Deb, and it is a cute little runner called the Propensity Runner. So this is one of the pattern options that we have for you. There's lots of blocks you can make with this tool, and this is the little Propensity Runner. So that's just one of the pattern options. We always like to have lots of pattern options for you when we have a tool that we're showing. So that is one of them. Give you a quick look at some of the others. This is actually a larger quilt done with the same block. Also from Deb. This is actually a very different looking quilt, but also done with the same block. A very pretty quilt. Kind of looks just like a Celtic symbol almost, is what it looks like to me a little bit. Then we have the kitty cornered chain. And the Happy Kitties topper. And the last one is really fun. It is a project called Daddy's Ties. And it is fun to actually do with old clothing as a memory quilt. Now you can certainly do it with fabric as well, but if you have some old clothing, some old neckties, or even old shirts or anything, it's a really fun way to make a memory quilt as well. So neat pattern there too. So that is the kitty cornered ruler from Creative Grids. We hope you guys enjoyed watching this and got some ideas maybe for a project that you'd like to do in the future. You can find all of the items that we showed on our website at www.redpinequiltshop.com. So www.redpinequiltshop.com. You can find all of these items there. Thanks for joining us today.